We have Kay here, and I know, or Kara, why don't you go ahead and get started, actually?
Yeah, Kay, I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm really excited because I know when we first talked, you were like, I don't think anyone's going to want to talk to me. No one's going to want to network with me. And this happened pretty quickly for you. It was like 45 days, right?
Right. I do think that it was luck, much as we always tout hard work. It was luck that the two positions were right on my skill set
Awesome.
and right at the level I was looking for. Well, not necessarily looking for. We can get into that a bit later, but
Well,
I definitely.
Well, real quick, I know before Kara answers the question, here's what I always say. You know, the more I do, the luckier I get. Would you agree with that?
Right. Yeah, and I know that. I know that I would have found something eventually, but I do feel that it's luck that these came in and they're right in the industry that I want to be in. Whereas
it just all fell into place just by chance. Wow.
Well, Kay, before we even get into that, where were you before you even decided to kind of work with us? Where were you in kind of this job search process?
I wasn't in a bad place. I knew that it was going to take time. I knew that there weren't that many opportunities.
Yeah, because how long have you been looking before you started working together?
Well, I was laid off at the end of June and we started working together at the beginning of September.
Mm-hmm. So at what point, because I know you're a VP of marketing, I know you were targeting you were really specific about what you wanted. At what point though, because you tried it on your own for, 40 days or so, give or take. At what point did you say, you know what, I think I might need a little help with this?
So actually, I always reach out for help if I need it.
Yes. And smart, successful people do.
And I told my husband, I said, there's a lot of these agencies that or agencies or consultants that offer assistance with jobs. I said, if nothing comes along when the kids go back to school, I'm going to take a closer look at them. And so I had been taking a look at quite a few of them. And this is one thing I wanted to share with you and give you some feedback. I did look a lot of them. And the reason I went with you guys was one, you were aiming just at the directors and executive level, which I was looking to get at. Two, I didn't get overwhelmed and overhounded by a load of emails. Three, I had to wait for your introductory webinar. And then when I did wait for that, because I think I've signed up about 10 days in advance, when I did wait for that, it just spoke to me. And so that's really why I signed up, and for the price point I felt was very well positioned as well.
And I do know, full transparency, I still remember like it was yesterday talking to your husband, right? Me and Kara were sitting here and you were like, I'm not sure. And your husband was sitting there like this, like, babe, I don't know if you should do this. You know what I mean? So we're super excited, you decided to work with us, and it happened pretty quickly. You got a little bit of a pay increase. They gave you relocation. I know you're working that out. What do you think you found the most valuable working together? Sometimes it's the interview prep. Sometimes it's the automation that really helps. Sometimes it's being a part of the group, kind of the social integration. What do you think was the most valuable for you?
To be honest, I think it was a combination of, for me personally, in terms of my learning and what I got out and what I'm going to take with me, it's a combination of being forced to network.
Yeah.
And then your coaching calls forcing me to network. And I still hear you, even this morning when I was writing down my goals.
Nice.
Really, for me, that has been the most valuable thing. And although I didn't get this job through networking, and the networking, it happened a little bit, but then this really took off. I really now am going to take with me the whole value of the networking. And I already have my next goal is my next position I am going to acquire through networking. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet, but I do know that I'm closer to that than I was before.
Yeah. Now,
Just like I like to say, strangers have everything that you could possibly want. They do have your next job, and it happens different for everyone. We just had someone that, hey, he got lucky. We updated his profile and a headhunter found him. Other people, it's through a friend that they never thought of contacting. It's through automation. It's through this or through this. But when you do kind of everything, that's when, stuff starts happening.
Absolutely.
Well, and so so although I say, okay, I found this job not through networking, it was just the right fit. The learning I got from the networking and the feeling of, oh, I don't really want to do this means you absolutely should do it. I'm living by that at the moment. I'm only 10 days into my new job, but I'm definitely living into it. So for me, it was that. I never would have thought of converting this to a VP position, which is what I really, really wanted. I kind of would have gone for it, and I couldn't have got particularly excited about that. And then I may not have even interviewed so well if I wasn't excited about what I could turn it into. And certainly I pushed the pay far and above what I would have done before. I always have negotiated, but never quite that.
I know. I still remember when they asked you, like, hey, how much, I don't remember what they specifically said, but like, how much do you need to make? And you're like, Tim, what do I say? So awesome. We're super excited. Everything worked out for you.
So Kay, a lot of times people, and you yourself and your husband rightfully so, when you're investing in yourself, it's a little bit hesitation. So what advice would you give someone who might be considering working with us? What advice would you give?
Well, I would tell them that it's absolutely the best thing that they can do for their career. What I did say to my husband, it's actually really interesting. The people who responded to me for networking were actually the higher the person is in the organization, and the more they've got their stuff together, the more they make time to talk to interesting people. And I found that. And I actually probably only had about 8 to 10 networking calls. But that was very interesting, and awesome. I know that if this job hadn't come along, something would have fallen through eventually. But it's absolutely it's absolutely the right investment to make in yourself, and I was willing to make that investment. The thing that I was having a really hard time with, and my husband even more so. I couldn't understand how you were actually going to
you were going to do everything.
And as soon as you took me into the things, and this is kind of how it went down in our family. I know you don't really like this, honey, but I'm going to do it anyway. And he said, you'll stand behind me, and that's kind of how it went down. As soon as I was convinced in myself, then I knew it was the right thing to do. So,
and one of the reasons too, kind of in closing on this, we don't get into the specific minute details, is if we sent you our success checklist ahead of time and you read like those 60 blocks, you would have still been, you know what I mean? Like,
I still wouldn't get it.
Yeah, you still wouldn't get it, because it's not only the plan, it's how it's executed, and unfortunately it's sometimes hard to explain. Like, even we spent like 30 minutes with you, and I'm sure after you got off the phone, you were like, did you really understand what they did? I'm still, so, and that's the first thing we talked about on your intake session. Hey, do not get overwhelmed with all the details. Just worry about the next steps, because likely you may have lots of questions. You might not have any questions, and then we'll move on. So, hey, we just want to say, me and Kara, congratulations on your new role, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you. And what I will say to you and to Kara is that, yes, the value was in those coaching sessions and getting together with everyone. And I would say, make sure, my feedback to you is, make sure you don't lose that personal touch.
Yeah,
I know you want to expand your business and everything like that and grow it. But to me, that was really valuable.
Yep, really the social integration is so important, because here's why, and I'll close on this, is when you just join and you're still kind of like, is this going to happen for me? To come to a coaching call saying, well, this person got an offer and so did this, and look at all these people going on interviews. It's kind of really inspiring. So we absolutely will never lose that social integration piece. And thanks for, spending a couple times linking up with us.
No problem at all. And